Good evening, guys, and welcome to this week's ghost story from around the world. And tonight, I'm going to tell you all about the ancient Ram Inn within the county of Gloucestershire here in the UK, and nestled in the southern Cotswold Hills. It's a charming country town called Watton-under-Edge, which is seriously steeped in history. So much so that its history dates back to AD 940, which makes it an ancient settlement indeed. And it is here, within this pleasant market town, the ancient Ram Inn can be found. It has a reputation as being one of the most haunted places in England, and it is believed to be riddled with at least 20 ghosts, and has been investigated by numerous national and international ghost hunters over the years. Originally built in 1145, it was the home of the local priest and was much larger than its present form. It was also built on the intersection of two ley lines, and furthermore, an ancient pagan burial ground is reported to have resided in the location over 5,000 years ago. During the reign of King John, which was between 1166 and 1216, a huge fire broke out in the village, and much of it, including some of the inn, was destroyed. The inn was then rebuilt in around 1252 and was used to house the craftsmen and slaves involved in the construction of the Church of St. Mary the Virgin, which was completed by 1283. The ancient Ram then continued to be the property of the church until the late 14th century, when it was converted to serve as an inn and catered to locals and travellers until the early part of the 19th century. In 1930, the inn was bought by a Maurice de Bath, and after him, it changed hands several times. Over the years, though, it had started slipping into decline, and by 1965, it started losing custom. It was then listed for demolition as part of the council's plan to widen the road, but instead it was saved by John Humphreys, a former train driver who purchased the inn from Whitbread Brewery for £2,600 in 1968. John moved straight in with his wife and their 3 daughters, and he made it his life's mission to save the structure from falling apart. Unfortunately for him, the cost of restoring the building left him penniless, and combined with the ghostly encounters that the family had to endure, he eventually lost his wife and, for a while, his relationship with his children, as he stubbornly refused to move out of the inn. When John first moved in, he was a non-believer of ghosts, but that was soon to change, as on his first night, he was introduced to the angry ghosts when he was grabbed by the arm and dragged from his bed across the room by an unseen entity. John was also reported that he was raped 4 times by an invisible entity that he believed to be an incubus, a male demon that likes to force himself on women hand after sex with them. Since those sexual assaults, he always carried a Bible around with him for protection. In the former bar room, several apparitions have been seen, including an old innkeeper and his daughters. Frequently encountered is a female spirit known as Elizabeth, and it is believed that she was murdered and buried beneath the bar. In a room known as the men's kitchen, visitors have claimed to have heard a baby crying, and it is within this room where you will find the main attraction, the ancient grave, which was discovered by a group of ghost hunters in 1997. Originally, the ghost hunters were given permission to tear up parts of the concrete floor while searching for an entrance to a sealed cellar, and instead they found a grave containing the remains of a woman and a child with broken daggers within them. John believed that they were the victims of devil worship and were killed as part of a ritual sacrifice. Also on the ground floor is a large undeveloped space known as the Mayflower Barn, which was once the former stables of the property. It is here that visitors have been thrown to the floor by an unseen force, whilst John has reported seeing strange lights in there, as well as being pinned against the wall. A father and son once fled from the space after witnessing a spirit rising from the ground, and a 7-foot shadow has been seen rushing through the barn and out of the door. To get to the first floor, you have to go up a narrow set of stairs, where visitors have been thrown down them by unseen hands. A photo taken in 1999 shows a mysterious white mist ascending the staircase. The landing area of the first floor is referred to as the clock room, and it is here that a human face has been known to appear in the clock face of a grandfather's clock. A little girl is also said to have been seen here, walking the hallways. It is on the first floor that you will find the witch's room, and one popular legend surrounding the ancient ram is that of a woman who was believed to have been a witch in the 1500s, when the prosecution against those that did not practice Christianity was at its peak. It is said that after fleeing from her trial, she took refuge inside the inn before being recaptured by the soldiers who were looking for her, and then had her burned at the stake. A lot of people believe that her spirit still haunts this room to this day, and she has been known to appear at the bedside of those that have slept in the room. Many people who have stayed in this room have also reported feeling hatred towards women and wanting to cause them harm. Laughter has also been heard, and a photo taken in the room is believed to have captured the witch's ghostly form. One of the most haunted rooms here is the bishop's room, also found on the first floor. And it is said that when the inn was a B&B, guests refused to sleep in there, and those that did ended up fleeing the inn in the middle of the night. There have been reports of furniture flying around the room, and on one occasion a medium was thrown down the corridor on attempting to open the door. Other sightings include those of 2 ghostly monks that have been seen shimmering in a corner of the room, a mounted centurion, and a cavalier who appears by the dressing table before striding purposely across the room to the opposite wall, where he disappears. There have also been reports of a young woman being seen hanging from the ceiling beams, a phantom shepherd and his dog standing near the door, and the screams of a man who supposedly was killed after having his head thrust into the fireplace. Those that have slept in the room have reported feeling a presence climb into the bed with them before pinning them down and interfering with them. As well as that, the sounds of something heavy being dragged across the floor above their heads has also been heard. The last room in the ancient inn is the attic, which was once used by weavers, but more recently as a bedroom for one of John's daughters and her partner. They would often hear the sound of something heavy being dragged across the floor, and it is said that the attic is haunted by the ghost of a former innkeeper's daughter who was murdered there in the 16th century. Could this mysterious dragging sound be the ghostly echoes of her body being removed from the murder scene? Sadly, John Humphreys passed away on the 12th of December 2017, and his daughter Caroline has now stepped into looking after the property and works closely with paranormal groups to oversee and safeguard all those that wish to spend the night at the ancient Ram Inn. And that concludes this week's ghost story from around the world. As usual guys, if you enjoyed it, please do give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions that you would like to ask, please do feel free to do so. And with that, I shall wish you all a good night. Sleep tight. Don't let them bedbugs bite. Bye for now.